everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Georgia, I hope you're well. Today we are doing my September wrap up. Now September has been such a good reading month. I actually picked up 13 books this month. So I do think that is the most books I've ever picked up in a month from like right at the beginning of my reading journey. That's probably the best month I've had numbers wise. I have also picked up some incredible books this month as well. So in this video we will go through them, we will discuss my thoughts, my feelings, my ratings on the books that we've picked up. So I picked up 13 books in the month of September, but one of those was a DNF, so that is my first DNF of 2025, which I don't think is bad going, but I have decided to be a little bit more strict on that because there's definitely been a few books this year that I've read that I've not really enjoyed and could absolutely have DNF'd and moved on. I just think there's so many books I really want to get to. Why continue reading a book that I'm not enjoying when there's just all those books out there that I might be loving? So I have DNF'd, so I'm going to talk about that one first and then we will move into the 12 books I completed this month. So the book that I DNF'd in the month of September was The Tenant by Freida McFadden. Now I find this author's writing so hit and miss. Like Never Lie, I've got her stack of books next to me here. Never Lie I absolutely loved. I love that book so much. I think it was just such an interesting read, and like the twist I never saw coming. I was so mind blown by it. I've also read The Housemaid, which I think I rated about 3 stars, but it doesn't deserve the 3 that I gave it. I think that should have probably been like a 2.5 maybe. And the same with The Teacher. I think at the time I rated that 3 stars, but thinking back I just didn't enjoy it, and it also doesn't deserve the 3 star that it got. I preferred Housemaid to that, so that's probably a 2. And then this one I DNF'd. I did get to around 50%, so I think it was chapter 35. So I did give it a good go, just over halfway. But I just didn't like it. I don't know, it just felt like the same setup as The Housemaid when I really wanted something a little bit different. Obviously I didn't get to the end or the big twist, so I don't know if it got better after that, but after looking at a few reviews, I think a few people felt the same way. I don't know, it was just, the characters felt whiny. It all felt a bit, not out there, because I guess things like this could actually happen and it's a bit crazy. But I don't know, I just wasn't enjoying it at the time. I don't know if maybe at a different time I'd have enjoyed it more and maybe kept going with it, but I just wasn't bothered. So I put it down, I gave up. So first DNF of 2025, The Tenant by Freida McFadden, but I did give it a good go. It's just not for me. I'm starting to think that I should just give up on thrillers, to be honest, because I just don't enjoy them anymore. So moving on to the books that I actually finished this month, the first few books are included in my how many pages I read in a week sort of video, so it will be linked up here if you want my full thoughts and feelings on it. The first book is Love Arranged, which is book 3 in the Lakefront Billionaire series. Now I really enjoyed the series as a whole, and I felt the same towards this one as well. So this one follows Lorenzo and Lily. This is an arranged marriage of convenience style book. So we have our main character Lorenzo, who's running for mayor of their town, and then we have our female main character Lily. Now she is the sister of the main female character in book 1, and then Lorenzo is sort of like the enemies of the main male character in book 1 as well. So we have a lot of sort of crossover between book 1 and book 3. Freya's just letting herself into the library. There we go, sorted. So I did really enjoy this one. I liked the arranged marriage. I like watching them sort of go from not enemies but sort of strangers, bit of dislike, bit of family, you know, rivalry going on, to this really lovely relationship that they have. There was a lot of backlash regarding sort of like family things, which I thought was a nice take on it as well, and how that was resolved and how they all sort of started to get on at the end and things was really lovely. So I have rated this one 4 stars, which is the same as what I rated book 1 and 2 in this series. So all in all, it has been a really lovely series and I've really enjoyed it. They are fun, spicy. They always have that difficult topic running through it as well. At the beginning of this book, they're actually in like a dating app. Let me find it. So like the beginning of the book is literally the setup for your dating profile. So it is an anonymous dating app, but then they sort of meet in person, realise who the other one is, and then kind of Lorenzo just sort of disappears off the face of the earth because he's actually been looking for this fake fiancée and he doesn't want to do that to Lily. So it's a really lovely book. I just really enjoyed it. I don't want to tell you much more. You should just go and read the series because honestly they're so fun, they're spicy, they're nice. It's a lovely found family sort of setup and I really enjoyed this one all in all. So first finish of September, I rated 4 stars. The next book that I picked up in September was Fearful by Lauren Roberts. Now I didn't like this. I love the Powerless trilogy. It's one of my favourite series of all time. I absolutely love it, and that's including the Powerful novella as well. I absolutely adore this series, but this one just wasn't for me. I don't feel like I needed this book. I feel like some people had a lot of unanswered questions. All the questions I had regarding the end of Fearless, I don't really feel I needed answered, so I don't know. Some people have really enjoyed this, some people have really hated it. I feel like everyone's sort of one extreme or the other. I'm in the category of disliking this book. It's just not for me. I don't feel like it's necessary. I did read this book as part of my doing book stuff video, so I'll link it above, but I just didn't vibe with this book. It's just not for me. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't really like just sitting and slating books, so that's all I'm going to say on the matter, but this one's just not for me. I rated this 2-star in the end. The next book that I picked up in September is Arcana Academy. Now this is by Elise Cover, and this was my Fairy Loot for September, August, July. July? Was this my July Fairy Loot? I can't even remember anymore, but I got this in one of my Fairy Loot subscriptions, and I actually quite enjoyed this book. I think it's a really unique magic system. So basically you have these tarot cards, you draw these tarot cards, and then you can use the tarot cards to sort of have this magic ability for a certain amount of time. So this one follows our main character, Clara. Now it is actually illegal to ink these tarot cards if you've not been through Arcana Academy. So Clara has been inking tarot cards her entire life. She gets set up and trapped and then taken to prison. The Prince of Arcana Academy has basically set her up this whole time to then take her out of prison and have this arranged marriage, and in exchange for her freedom she has to basically ink these tarot cards for the prince, and they're basically working towards this specific very, very powerful card that not many people have ever had access to. So I really enjoyed the magic system in this, and I loved the first like 40% of this book. The first 40% of this book I devoured. I then think that from sort of like 40% to 80% nothing really happens. I get why we had that sort of slower middle section, but it was like really just building up to this big final ending, and that final ending was really interesting, really good twists and turns and things, but I just think that the pacing just fell kind of flat. I don't feel like a lot happened in that middle 40%, and it is a big book, so it's a lot of time to not really be enjoying and to not really have anything going on. So I don't know. I did really enjoy this, and I ended up rating it 3.5 in the end. It was just that slow middle section did kind of ruin it for me a little bit. My camera battery just died, so we're now back. So I just finished talking about Arcana Academy, hadn't I? So I'll now move on to the next book. Now the next 2 books again can be found in another video, so it can be found in my continuing series video. Again, it will be up here, but I'll just give you my sort of brief rundown on the next few books. The 4th book that I read in the month of September was Daughter of the Siren Queen. Now this is book 2 in the Daughter of a Pirate King trilogy, and I just love this series. I don't know what it is about it in particular, but it's just so fun, so easy, such a like interesting adventure, and I just absolutely love it. It's one of those books that you can just sit down and read, and like it doesn't feel like an effort. It's just easy, and you just get so lost in it, and I just love them so much. So obviously I've only read the first 2 in this series, but I recommend it so much. The next book is actually following a different character, so I guess you could just probably read the first 2 together and leave it at that if you didn't want to read the third one. But I love them. I love them so much. So this one follows on straight after book 1, so we're on a different adventure. She is sort of on the run for this one, so I feel like we get a lot more of the sort of pirate activity. They're on the run, they're fighting other crews. It's so much fun. I just love it. I just love it so much, and I just can't recommend it enough. Please go and read the series. There is a romance in this book, but it is definitely not the main plot. There is more romance in this than there is in the book 1, but like the tension in it is so good, and like the sort of slow burn of their romance is incredible, but it's definitely not the main focus. The main focus is definitely more of like the pirate and the adventure, but the romance in it is really, really sweet as well. So if you want something that's very fun and exciting and adventurous but also has that little bit of romance running through it, these are perfect. I enjoyed this so much. If you want something like YA, fun, easy, lower on the spice scale, this series right here is where it's at. I devoured this. I loved it so much. So I've rated this one 4.5 stars. I don't know what it is that's stopping me from moving over to that 5-star category. I just can't bring myself to get over that little thing. I don't know. I love it. I have rated it as 5-star on Goodreads, but it is probably more of like a 4.5, 4.75. I love the siren element to this. I loved the big ending, how it all came together at the end. I love it so much. I just love it. Go and read it. Please go and read this book. And then the next book that I picked up was Riding the Line by Emma Lucy, and again, I loved this book. If you follow me on any of my other social media platforms, you'll have probably seen my video of me just ranting and raving about this series. So this is book 2 in the Willow Ridge series by Emma Lucy, and I just love it. I really enjoyed book 1, but this one just sort of stepped it up that extra level. I devoured this book. It ticked every single one of my boxes. It ticked all of my favourite tropes and all of my favourite micro tropes. I enjoyed it so much. So this is an age gap cowboy romance. It's older brother's best friend. It's just so good. So this book follows our main characters Duke and Cherry. Now Cherry has epilepsy and Duke has his own sort of like difficult sort of past and family life. So with Cherry having epilepsy, she feels she's missed out on a lot of the big moments in life, so she is constantly chasing these big moments. She has like a summer bucket list that she wants to work through, and then Duke, having lost a lot of his family, is so focused on these little moments and thinks that it's these little moments in the end that matter. They come up with this sort of deal where Duke will help her tick off some items on her bucket list, but for each big item she ticks off, she has to enjoy this little moment of his choosing. And I just absolutely loved that setup. I did end up tabbing this book because I just think there's so many amazing quotes in here. I enjoyed it so much. I highly recommend the series. This is definitely up there with like Chestnut Spring, and if you know me, you know how much I love the Chestnut Spring series. This has been my favourite cowboy romance in the longest time. I enjoyed this so much. The third act conflict didn't piss me off either, which is almost unheard of. Like 90% of third act conflicts annoy me. This one I understood. I love this, and I have actually rated this 5 stars. This was such a fun read. I absolutely devoured this book. The 6th book that I read in the month of September is The Rebel Witch by Kristen Cicerelli. This is book 2 in the Crimson Moth, Heartless Hunter, Duet, I again, probably Freya Fair. So this one follows our same 2 characters from book 1. So we have our main female character Rune, who is a witch, and then we have Gideon, our main male character, who is a witch hunter. So we have this sort of hunter-huntee dynamic. I cannot see out my right eye. So book 1 is sort of like a enemies to lovers, false identity sort of situation. There is a big thing that happens at the end of book 1, and this one is sort of like the fallout of that. This series does give us an enemies to lovers again sort of setup, and I did really enjoy that. The magic system in this I also really enjoyed. So these witches use blood magic, and depending on whose blood and how you got it, depends on the strength of the spell you can then create. And I just think that's such a unique magic system, and I really enjoyed that element of it. So I did rate this one 3 stars in the end. I didn't love this as much as I could, as it was in third person, which is something I just don't really enjoy reading. I definitely prefer a first person perspective, and that same can be said for Daughter of a Siren Queen actually. I think that's probably why that's a 4.5 instead of a 5. It does make a massive difference to me. I definitely prefer first person. I think it's just much easier to get lost in it than it is in third person. I hope that makes sense. I did really enjoy this duology. It has definitely got more of a tension based romance than it's like that really good slow burn, and you get that slow burn twice as the series goes on, so I definitely enjoyed this one. But yeah, 3 stars from me. The 7th book I picked up in the month of September was Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. Now this is book 1 in the Fire and Metal series. I don't know how many she's doing, so I don't know if it's duology, trilogy or more, I'm not sure. And again, I really enjoyed this one. This is probably up there with one of my most anticipated reads of the year. I have been waiting for this to come out on paperback in the UK for what feels like forever. Yeah, it was indie published in 2024, and then it's been traditionally published this year. So this only came out at the beginning of September. So I read this pretty much as soon as I got my hands on it. I do have now 3 copies of this book. So, you know, I really wanted to absolutely love this book. And I did enjoy it. So this is another piratey one. I think this is pretty much why I ended up reading Daughter of a Pirate King, because I just wanted something piratey to get me through until this book came out. And this was definitely up there as a 5-star prediction for me. I have tabbed it. It's not very often I tab a book properly. And I did really enjoy this. The romance in it was really interesting. The bin man here. It had a really fun magic system. It had sort of like that elemental magic, which I really enjoy. So we follow our main character, whose name has completely escaped me. What are you called? This is why I'm confused. She has 2 names. So Bryn lives among the Alahar. Now the Alahar are a community that have been exiled to a life at sea, so they can only step onto land once a year for this sort of annual trading market. There's basically a bit of a mess up at this market that then sort of sends everything else into chaos. So this book follows the sort of events of that. That is literally chapter 1. It kicks off immediately right at the beginning of the book. We have this massive adventure. So we have their travel back to the sort of where they've set up base. We then have a lot of new characters coming in. The friendships and the characters and the different sort of romances and dynamics that we have in this book, I just find so much fun. This had the potential to be a 5-star for me, and up until about 90% it was, but the ending to this book was incredible, and like the more I think about it, the more I am just being petty about it. It just wasn't what I wanted, which is the reason this isn't a 5-star. It didn't end how I wanted it to end. the twist at the end wasn't what I wanted, so it has reduced my rating to a 4 because I'm being petty. I did really enjoy this. I flew through it. It's such a fun adventure. I really like those books with that sea life, so if you've got any pirate recommendations for me, please let me know, because I'm clearly really enjoying this pirate setup at the moment. I don't know what's started that or where that's come from, but I'm just loving it. I will be doing a full video of my thoughts and feelings on this book. It won't be out yet at the time of seeing this one, but I will link it up here when it does eventually come out if I remember to, but it should be up in the next couple of weeks. But I loved it. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. I ended up rating it 4 stars in the end, but if you want my full thoughts and feelings and reactions as I read this book, that video will be coming soon. The next couple of books are also going to be in a video that's coming up in the next few weeks. I don't know exactly when this one will be out, but I did a 24-hour reading challenge and I read these next couple of books in that challenge. So the first book that I read was The Coven by Harper L. Woods. Now this again is another witchy one. I've read a lot of like witchy books I think this month. I'm clearly getting in that sort of autumn vibe. But this one follows our main female character Willow. Now Willow kind of gets accepted into this university where witches learn to use their magic. Now it's usually only sort of these specific families that get accepted into this university, but she is offered a place. And I'll be honest, I remember nothing from this book. I literally read this last week. Like this time, as I'm filming now, I filmed this time last week, and I remember nothing about this book. That kind of rings a bell. I don't remember it. I really don't remember it. I remember it being a bit darker than I expected. It's a little bit of a dark romance, but not really. It's definitely on the darker side. There's quite a bit of spice between her and the sort of like headmaster in this college. I had rated this 3 stars, but I don't remember it, so I don't feel like it deserves a 3. I don't remember this book. I'd love to give you more thoughts on this, but I genuinely don't remember it. If you want my thoughts and feelings on this one, you can definitely go to my 24-hour reading challenge when it's up and see them there, but right now I can't tell you a fucking thing. I mean, yeah, there you go. That is my review of The Coven. I don't know what happened in this book, but I at the time rated it 3 stars, so it can't have been that bad, but right now I couldn't tell you a single thing about this book. The next book that I read was Pride by Ali Hazelwood. Now this one I did enjoy. So this book follows our main female character Misery, and she is a vampire. We then have our main male character Lo, and he's the alpha of the werewolf pack. Now we have a lot of like sort of rivalry, so their sort of solution to this is they basically trade off a family member or somebody very important to the leaders so that they're safe, and basically then if the werewolves do anything wrong, the vampires have their important werewolf to harm, and if the vampires do anything wrong, then the werewolves have a member of their family to harm. So it kind of keeps everybody in line. Now Misery is the daughter of the sort of leader of the vampires, so she's chosen to go and live in werewolf territory. She has kind of spent her life that way, so she was the collateral when she was younger for a similar sort of trade-off. Going into an adult life, she has been traded off to be married off to the Alpha King, so they have a marriage of convenience or alliance, and it kind of follows that. So they literally meet on their wedding day, they get married right at the beginning of the book, and it's them starting to get to know each other, to learn about each other, and to sort of decide on what's happening. Now this had a really weird take, I think, on werewolves and vampires. So vampires don't drink from people, they drink from blood bags. The sunlight burns, things like that, but there are a lot of elements in this that don't follow your sort of traditional vampire descriptions, if that makes sense. I was put off reading this book for the longest time because I was told that there was a really weird spicy scene and that there was just a very weird element in that department, and in my head, I don't know if I'd heard it somewhere or if I'd just kind of interpreted it that way, but I had it in my head that there was gonna be a spicy scene of him in his werewolf form, and there just isn't, and that's what put me off for the longest time. That wasn't something I wanted to read. That doesn't happen. There is a bit of something different in terms of how the spicy stuff happens. It's nowhere near as bad as everyone's been making it out to be, in my opinion. So that was fine. So if that's been what's putting you off reading this book, it honestly isn't that deep, and I would just pick it up. The second book to this does come out on, I want to say like the 16th of October or something like that, but it comes out in the next couple of weeks, and I would quite like to pick that up this year and get this series finished. I don't know if they're doing any more, if it's just going to be the 2, I'm not entirely sure, but I did really enjoy this. Ali Hazelwood has such an easy to read writing style, and I really enjoyed that. It is first person, but it is only her POV. I rated this 3 stars in the end. I did really enjoy it, and there's a little girl in this book that I also really liked. I feel like she was quite a big part of this, and I'm intrigued to see what happens with her. And I do think the next book's going to be about different characters, so I think it's going to be sort of like an interconnected type book. The next book I read is again another one that I just absolutely loved. So I read Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver, and this book had me literally like gipping 1 minute and then sat giggling and kicking my feet the next. Like, it was just so messed up and so twisted, but you can't help but love it. Absolutely check your trigger warnings for this book. There is a 2-page menu. They're all there. They're definitely all there. It's gross, it's grim, it's disgusting, but the romance is so sweet and so lovely, and the spice is incredible. The spice is definitely spicing. Check your trigger warnings is all I will say. Definitely check your trigger warnings. I've rated this 5-star. I devoured this. Like, I didn't eat, I didn't move, I didn't get up to get a drink, I didn't get up to go for a wee. I just sat and inhaled this book. I loved it so much. It is so much fun, and I cannot wait to pick up the rest of the series. But I'm not joking when I say I was gipping 1 second, giggling the next. Like, it's ridiculous how much you're like, oh my god, that is so vile, and then like, oh, they're so in love, it's so sweet. It was just ridiculous. And the third act conflict again, I actually didn't mind in this. It was a bit of a misunderstanding, but then you saw her sort of go, wait a minute, and then resolve the situation, which I really enjoyed. I definitely recommend this book. It's incredible, it is hilarious, it is disgusting, it is dark. It is so much fun at the same time. So we had another 5-star this month. I loved this book so much. I then read The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. I just wanted something short and sweet to end off my 24-hour reading challenge. And again, this is one that I don't actually remember tons about. I think I was quite tired by this. But this one follows our main character Vivian and Reese. This is a third-person book, so again, I feel like that doesn't help with my inability to focus. It's a town of witches, but this is a nice, sweet romance book. There is some spice in it, but it's not like super crazy. It was spicier than I expected it to. It's many years ago. Vivian and Reese were dating, and she found out that Reese was actually engaged to somebody else. She'd got drunk with a friend, and they'd basically placed a hex on Reese. Now, Reese had to come back to fix the sort of ley lines, so like the magic system in their town, and that's when this hex sort of comes to light. So while he's been away from the town, the hex hasn't really been an issue, but in coming back to the town, the hex has come back full force, to the point where like their cat starts speaking, and the cat is a main character, I'm sorry, but he was so funny. And then like the toys in the toy shop start sort of coming to life, and there's all these little issues that start happening, and the magic system just kind of completely goes to pot in this town. There's also a ghost as well that becomes quite important that I kind of forgot about, to be honest. So this is sort of like a bit of a second chance. It's a bit of an enemies to lovers situation. They end up having to sort of work together to fix the hex that she put on him all those years ago. So I did enjoy this one. I rated this one 3 stars. If you want in a cozy, easy fantasy with that little bit of romance running through and that bit of spice, then I would recommend this book. It was nice and easy and fun, and pretty much just what I needed at the end of that 24-hour reading challenge. The final book I read in September was Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. Now this is book 3 in the sort of Twisted series. I've found these books quite hit and miss. I absolutely loved book 1. I rated that 4.5, but then book 2 I didn't really enjoy, and I think I rated it about 2.5 in the end. It just wasn't really for me. This one again I did really enjoy. This one follows Josh and Jules. Now Josh and Jules have sort of been the two that have hated each other through the series so far. So Jules is part of the friendship group, and Josh is book 1's female main character's older brother. So book 1 is older brother's best friend. Book 3 is younger sister's best friend. These books are all quite spicy romances, but they follow a darker topic throughout. There's some things in here that I would definitely recommend checking your trigger warnings before you read it. I really enjoyed it, and I didn't know about them before I go in, but there's not a lot of things that I'm really triggered by, so I just jumped straight in. And I did enjoy this one. So Josh is a doctor, and Jules is about to sit her exams for the bar, so she's a lawyer in training. They end up sort of working together at the same clinic, obviously doing different things. They have very different backgrounds, but they end up working at the same clinic together, so have to kind of put their constant rivalry aside for the sake of the clinic and sort of agree on a truce. They have never been nice to each other. They've constantly been bickering and horrible to each other. We have a sort of like really interesting dynamic between the two, because once they agree on this truce, they don't actually know why they despise each other so much and why they have so much hatred towards the other. So I really like the progress in this book and the character development. Like I said, there are a lot of darker topics in this, and there's these secrets that have been looming over Jules for her entire life, and she's kind of forced to deal with them in this book. And Josh just sort of help her through that. So I really enjoyed this one. The spice in it is incredible. It's definitely, I'd say the spice is definitely a little bit darker than the others as well. I really enjoyed it. Josh is a spicy guy. Jules is a spicy guy. I definitely recommend this book as well. I can't wait to jump into book 4. I did try to jump straight into the 4th book in this series, which is Twisted Lies, but they don't actually have it on the audio apps that I have tokens left on, so I'm having to wait until my Audible token refreshes before I can pick up book 4. I could just pick it up on paper, but I'll probably audio it because I feel like this has set a good mood for an audioing on the next one, and I like the duet narration and things, so I will probably wait and pick up book 4 on audio. But yeah, this is the last book that I read in the month of September, and I really enjoyed this one as well, 4 stars. So that is all the books that I read in September. I am aware that this is a lengthy video, like that is a lot of books to talk about. I've tried to keep them short and sweet, especially since a lot of them are in other videos as well. You can go and check out all those other videos if you want more in-depth descriptions of any of these books or more in-depth thoughts and feelings and things. This is a very successful reading month in my opinion. I have smashed that, is all I'm saying. 10 out of 10 on my part. I don't think I've ever done that many books in my life. I've read so many pages this month. I'm so proud of myself. But yeah, that is everything for this video. If you've read any of these books, definitely let me know what your thoughts were in the comments and what you rated them and things. I've enjoyed so many of these books. I think I've had a particularly good reading month, to be honest, numbers wise and reading wise. Minus the books that I've just lost all thoughts and feelings on. Thank you so much for watching this video, and thanks for sticking it out this far if you have. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon wishlist, my Goodreads and my business email are all in the description bar below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're well. Take care.